David, you're the first cousin of Governor Perdue, and you grew up together, I understand. Did you think that you would have international careers when you were kids?
Well, I kind of saw in him a potential. I know my mother did. His mother and my mother were both teachers, and so I think they saw potential in Sonny that he would do something on a big scale later in life. I was sort of a wanderlust, particularly after school. So as a kid, I don't think I had imagined that I would have sort of the international exposure that I've had, but I really enjoyed it.
You were exposed to agriculture in Georgia from an early age, and people often forget that agriculture is really the backbone of America's international trade. Did that dawn on you as you were growing up?
Well, I think so. I think what we saw particularly in the 60s, when I became aware that the Cultural Revolution was happening during my lifetime in China, and that there were millions of people in that part of the world that were starving, and here we were with surpluses, government imbalances with subsidies and so forth. I began to think about it as a young man, but it wasn't one of the top 5 things that I really, spent a lot of time worrying about. But as an adult, you can see that what happened here in the 60s, 70s, and 80s is beginning to happen in the rest of the world now, and people over there are becoming consumers as we did here in the second half of the 20th century.
I know you've had a long international career. What was your first international assignment?
Well, when I was with Kurt Salmon Associates here in Atlanta, I actually lived in France for a brief period and had a client over there who made footwear. And so that really opened my eyes about global trading. In Europe, they trade across borders more readily than obviously we have had here in the U.S. And so that really opened my eyes about potential trading. And then later I lived in Hong Kong and saw the dramatic growth of the trading company over there. And so both of those have had a great influence on what we're doing here.
What markets are you currently excited about internationally?
Well, you've got to be excited about China and India, obviously just because of the sheer numbers, but people forget about Indonesia. So over 250 million people. It's mostly Muslim. But India right now is one from a consuming standpoint that's going to explode. Their average age is 23, and you can see it on the streets there. These kids have cash, they're underserved as consumers, and they really have a strong appetite for everything Western. And we're going to be in a very rapid development of finding out what we can do to help fulfill their underserved need in that part of the world.
Right here in Georgia, we have a established and strong Indian community. Would you be open to working with members of that community in exploring opportunities in India?
Oh, absolutely. I have a great affinity for their culture, their history. I've spent the better part of the last 3 years in India helping people there start a retail operation. So I've learned a lot, and the more I learn, the more I know I don't know. And so to interface with a culture and the representatives of that culture here would be absolutely beneficial.
Does that go for the other communities here as well?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we're in a learning mode right now. When you have a startup like this, you're opportunistic and you've got your eyes open and you're trying to develop an understanding of the things that you don't understand while bringing your core competencies to bear to try to help meet a need that you've identified.